Okay. So I'll give two quick stories, particularly around this. One time I got a message on LinkedIn. It was from the CISO of an e-commerce company. And I'm like, that's interesting. I don't usually get messages inbound from CISOs. It's usually the other way around. So I opened up my LinkedIn message and he had written me a nice note and he was like, hey, I messaged three people in your company and three people at two of your competitors as well. And he was like, I was looking for information on something. So I responded to him pretty quick. And we had a really nice LinkedIn exchange. And what I had uncovered was he had sent out these 9 LinkedIn messages, and I was the only one to respond to him. Like no one else had bothered to send a message or say hello, do email outreach, nothing. So I got the opportunity to work with him and ultimately win his business simply because I just engaged with him, right? And had established some trust with him by him consuming my content and then reaching out to me. It was an awesome win. The second story I would share is we had another customer that we worked with where I worked with the marketing team to do a small ABM campaign towards a particular industry. And we had a couple of leads come out of the conversation. But in two of the cases where we engaged with customers, we had sent them some LinkedIn posts that I wrote, and we had talked about, what our POC process looked like. Because for anybody that doesn't know, in enterprise sales, POCs are long, they're time consuming, and they're very complex. So we like to kind of set the stage up front. Well, for us, having those conversations, and we had actually built a piece that described exactly what the POC process looked like, we not only got favorable reviews from the customer and had closed both of those deals, but when we did an interview kind of at the end of the sale, asking, why did you really buy from us? What really resonated with you? Anything we could have done better? In both cases, the number one thing we heard from them was they felt comfortable buying from us, not because we had the best solution. Some of our competitors had better features or capabilities in certain areas, but they bought with us because by having a piece of content that spelled out the POC process, that was super clear about timelines and expectations and what happened at each step of the way, it gave them a level of trust in us that we've done this before, right? We know what we're doing because we were so clear about it and demonstrated that value to them, and it instantly built trust with them. So these are all personal experiences to me and how I started scaling this. But let's talk some dollars and cents for a moment, because I think this is the piece that, most people get down to at the end of the day is how do you scale this beyond just one person? So I took my experiences, built just a single slide for leadership team to get them to understand, how this started and where it came from. So here are the numbers that I shared with them. As Nick mentioned earlier, sometimes it's, a slow grind and you're really talking to yourself. It took me about a year of building content and having a somewhat repeatable process to really get comfortable, honestly, in finding my own voice and being able to engage with people. So in year one, I just cleared about 1 million impressions in content over LinkedIn. Now, something interesting about this is it's not really the vanity metric of 1 million. It's something to keep in mind is in a pre-sales role, there is almost no one in pre-sales capacity on LinkedIn talking at the same consistency level. So being able to clear over 1 million impressions in a technical role is pretty hard and pretty cool at the same time. Out of those 1 million impressions, I was able to source and close about 500,000 in revenue in year one. So a moderate, amount for the amount of effort I put into it. In year two, right, those numbers kind of flipped a little bit. I had closed about 500,000 impressions in the first 2 months of the year, which led to about 2 million in pipeline. So it was nice to kind of finally see the reverse. And again, this is just me as one person doing this. So talking to leadership and getting buy-in, right? They immediately said, okay, these are numbers we can get on board with because you're one, we've got 10 people, right, across marketing, across sales. Imagine if we got them in. So the third number that's up here, which kind of was a sweetener, is There is about $35,000 in paid advertising that I would have had to spend to get the same level of impressions and engagement just on my content. And I actually use Shield app for this. This is one of the metrics that they provide back, which is really cool. So not only did I not have to spend any money on it, but if you take that number and multiply out by 10 people that we could eventually get involved in doing this and grow them, 350K is not a bad savings for an organization where you're spending the time of people versus the time in paid advertising. So these were, again, pretty compelling stats for one organization, but I've since rinsed and repeat and done this for other companies too.